Richard Newell joins me now. He's with Duke University Energy Initiative and indeed the author and the team leader for this wonderful document we've got looking at the reports. Tell me how important it is to compare this analysis and give me a feeling for what have your big findings been?
Yes. So the last several years we've been working with the International Energy Agency, the International Energy Forum, and OPEC to compare different short, medium, and long-term energy outlooks. And the purpose of this comparison is to isolate differences in convention or historical assumption by the different organizations so that we can really isolate where there might be differences in opinion looking forward. And one of the things that's exciting is to see each year the progress that's made on some of the differences in approach that are taken. In some cases where this was definitions of different energy sources or different baseline years used for analysis, the IEA and OPEC have taken actions to make it easier to compare their outlook so that you can really tell where there's differences of future viewpoint as opposed to just differences in the way things were calculated. What we've also done this year is to expand that comparison to not only look at the outlooks for the International Energy Agency and OPEC, but also to look at other major energy institutions that do long, medium, and short-run forecasts, including the U.S. Energy Information Administration and major energy companies like BP, ExxonMobil, and Shell. And we've taken the similar kinds of actions, understanding the different techniques that these different outlooks use for putting different energy sources in the same units and controlling for that so that we can really tell where their viewpoints are similar and where they differ.
Now, and tell me, where are you finding those similarities? The baseline, geographical areas, the definitions, what have been those key highlights that you believe then will be probably of greater use and help bring more clarity to the industry?
Yeah. Well, one of the things we found is that there are differences between the different organizations in assumptions about historical energy data, and this is important, particularly when it comes to things like the global oil market, where there are differences between the International Energy Agency and OPEC in terms of what past oil production and consumption has been. This has been particularly a difference of data in non-OECD countries in Asia other than China. So there's some differences there. There's also, on the supply side, different viewpoints about what the production of oil from the former Soviet Union countries are. And so IEA and OPEC have been working to share data to try and understand where these differences in historical data assumptions come from. And then in a forward-looking manner, one of the things that has been very interesting to watch over the last year is as the dynamics in the global oil market have shifted very rapidly with an increase in light tight oil in the United States and also actions or lack thereof on the part of other major oil-producing countries. We've seen dramatic changes in the price of oil, and so as the price of oil has shifted, market analysts at the International Energy Agency, at OPEC, at other major interested parties have been trying to understand what the future of OPEC production might look like with these lower oil prices and what the future production from new suppliers like light tight oil in the United States may be.
Now tell me, who will this report be, and particularly your comparative report? Who will that be of great use to? I've talked to many of the players here, some of the companies as well as the analysts as well, the sort of people on the front line that are actually producing and putting the product out there. So there are some people, but for other people listening, who are the people that really should have a good read of this? It's a tremendous document, and what can they learn from it?
Well, there's a number of different organizations and individuals that are interested in these long-term energy projections. One are government policymakers. So in the United States, other major energy consumers and producers are very interested in understanding what the future energy outlook might hold and how that might depend on different actions taken, particularly with regard to policies. So one of the major differences across these different outlooks is what they assume about policies, specifically related to greenhouse gas emissions, carbon dioxide emissions. The major source is from the energy sector, and so decisions that are made at a policy level that might influence relatively low carbon versus higher carbon sources of energy is a very critical factor. So that's one thing that one set of individuals that are interested. Also, the non-governmental organizations, NGO community is very interested in what the future of the energy system holds, as well as people in the investment community.
And again, this is a very substantial body of work. So you're probably looking ahead now to next year, I would imagine, already, are you?
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, it's interesting. One of the things that we do in this analysis is we track how energy forecasts change over the course of years. So right now, the International Energy Agency and OPEC are doing forecasts for what 2016 might hold, and each month they update these forecasts. So one of the things we watch is how, during the course of the year, expectations change as the future reveals itself. And so each year we will include this at the end of the year in our outlook, but it's very interesting to watch how expectations change, and then that in turn influences things like market prices. And so if, for example, the oil production from the United States ends up being more resilient than is expected in the face of low prices, this will tend to shift expectations on supply and potentially, in that case, lead to lower oil prices or maintained low oil prices. Decisions by OPEC countries, with Iran coming out from under sanctions, what the future of Iranian oil production might unfold, what the future of production in other major oil producers like Saudi Arabia, Russia, etc. Those all will unfold over the course of the year and influence how the market sees the balance of supply and demand looking forward. So we'll be following that.